The harvest was nearing its end, and the season of working and hoping had reached its peak. Naomi, no longer consumed by the bitterness of her arrival, saw that the Lord's organization was moving them toward a permanent solution. It was time for the final act of their restoration, proposing and redeeming. Using the today's English version, TEV, we follow the story from the midnight shadows of the threshing floor to the legal victory at the city gates. The plan for security. Naomi knew that the kindness Boaz had shown in the fields was a sign of his character. She also knew that the regulation of Israelite law allowed a close relative to step in and save a family from extinction. She gave Ruth specific instructions for a bold, symbolic move of dedication. "Now then, do what I tell you. Have a bath and put on some perfume and your best clothes. Then go to the threshing place. But don't let the man know you are there until he has finished eating and drinking." Ruth 3:2-3. Naomi's goal was for Ruth to seek a residence under the protection of Boaz, their kin. The proposal at midnight. Ruth followed the plan, waiting until Boaz was asleep before lying down at his feet. When he woke up startled in the middle of the night, Ruth made her formal proposing. It was a request for marriage and legal protection. He asked, "Who are you?" "I am your servant Ruth," she answered. "Make me your wife, because you are a close relative and are responsible for taking care of me." Ruth 3-9. Boaz was deeply moved by Ruth's loyalty. He recognized that she had not gone after younger men but had sought to fulfill her duty to Naomi's family. However, he noted a crisis of legal priority. There was a relative even closer than he was. "It is true that I am a close relative and am responsible for you, but there is a man who is a closer relative than I am. Stay here for the rest of the night, and in the morning we will find out. If he is not willing, then as the Lord lives, I will do it myself." Ruth 3:12-13. The redemption at the city gate. The next morning, the scene shifted to the city gates, the place of organization and legal decisions. Boaz sat down and waited for the other relative. In front of 10 city leaders, he presented the case for the land belonging to Naomi's late husband, Elimelech. Initially, the relative wanted the land. But when Boaz revealed that the inheritance also required him to marry Ruth to keep the family name alive, the man backed down. He feared it would ruin his own property. To finalize the redeeming, they performed an ancient ceremony. In those days, to make a contract for the sale or exchange of property official, one man would take off his sandal and give it to the other. This was how the Israelites showed that a deal had been made. Ruth 4-7. Boaz took the sandal, publicly declaring that he had bought the property and taken Ruth as his wife to ensure that the name of the dead man will not die out. Ruth 4:10. From emptiness to abundance, the story that began with empty and death concluded with life and rest. Boaz and Ruth were married, and the Lord blessed them with a son. The women of Bethlehem, who had once heard Naomi's bitter cries, now celebrated her restoration. The women said to Naomi, "Praise the Lord. He has given you a grandson today to take care of you. Your daughter-in-law loves you, and she has done more for you than 7 sons could have done." Ruth 4:14-15. Naomi took the child, Obed, and held him to her breast. She was no longer Mara. She was a grandmother in the line of a king. The legacy of the Redeemer, the book of Ruth, ends with a genealogy that shows the true prediction of T's story. The child born of this redemption became the grandfather of King David. The compassion shown in a small harvest field eventually led to the birth of the ultimate Redeemer. Obed was the father of Jesse, and Jesse was the father of David. Ruth 4:22.